that a bird?
No, it's a plane.
Nah, man, it's Captain Curt.
Oh, wait till you see Captain Curt. You can be like,
You are now tuned in with Captain Curt.
Hey, it's a party over here. Bring your people to the other side. Take them back roads. You might wanna bring your other ride. Yeah, let me get at them for a few. Check, 1, 2. Real talk, I was the black sheep of my family. Out getting money as a youngster, knew I had to be. Hanging with that older crowd.
Literally just a blend of your lifestyle just happened to land in exactly what you made.
And it was a blend of us. I mean, literally, we had 2 black girls, 2 black guys, a Puerto Rican, a Filipino, and a white dude. That were all on my first album.
That's dope to know that it started out with a blend of the cultures.
It started out and that's what I try to tell people. Country rap for me was not built off of like these closed doors and these rules. You know what I'm saying? Like that seems like some fucking man-made shit to me.
Right.
Country rap naturally to me felt like an open door. It was like Granny's porch. You know, it was an open door. And as long as you were respectful and wiped your feet and watched your mouth, you could come on in. You know, and especially if you were here for a good time. For me, I've always just been looking for a good time, man. And country rap to me was like the soundtrack to a good time. I'm like, all we got to
YouTube, what's good? It's your boy, Captain Curt. We're back with part 2 of the Smo interview. In this portion of it, we learn about how Big Smo got his name. We learn how Big Smo kind of crafted the sound to where it is today. We talk about some of the features that he's had, some of the people that he's worked with, some of the things that he was working on that we never got to see. We also go into how he introduces the television into the country rap lane. It's a great interview. You're not going to want to miss it. So without further ado, I present to you the making of Smo, crafting a country rap legacy.
I'm like, all we got to do is do songs about fucking having bonfires and drinking beer and slanging mud and fucking working, clocking in and clocking out and fucking like doing cool shit that regular folks don't get to do because they ain't got the balls or the ability, you know, to do it. And like, that's what country rap was to me. Before it was like country rap. It was just me doing music. I never even called it country rap. And then, so like the evolution after that was another album in 07. I did a lot of stuff in between the 2002 and the 07 release. I had a couple of groups that I was in. I was developing artists. I was learning how to shoot videos. I started a record label. I had my own record label. By that time, Yoda Records, me and O-Rig.
So it happened quick. It happened real quick. So once country rap's face started taking shape, it shot off like a cannon.
Well, it wasn't even about country rap. It was just about me. There wasn't even about country rap, bro. I'm telling you, I didn't think about other artists.
It was just Smo. There was you didn't even really know anything else existed. You knew it was there, but you didn't pay no attention. Yeah.
We were not trying to be anyone else. We were only being our authentic self, what it looked like, what it sounded like, what it smelled like, what it tastes like. We were who we were. There was no watching someone else become them and say, ooh, I want to be like him. We didn't have time for that, bro. We were having to make everything from fucking scratch. We were locked in this fucking shack in my backyard with thousands of dollars of equipment that we had bought because all we did was hustle. And with our hustle money, we bought equipment. That's why it was called Yoda Records, because people would be like, where are you getting the money to do all this? And I'd
From
be
the
like,
Yoda.
Yayo.
Yeah. As the music is kind of like taking shape, you found your lane, you're in what they would maybe call the country rap lane at this point, but you don't really know. You never really you never went that direction. It was just kind of there. You kind of you created it in a way, right, for yourself.
I was
How did the
definitely.
name?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, how did the name and how did that really take shape? And then did the television shows and the stuff like that come pretty quickly into your musical career?
So the name Smo, and it was always Smo. It was Smo from the beginning. It was never
Okay.
Big Smo. It was Smo when I was 12.
Okay.
Because my brother's nickname was Shma. So we were Shma and Schmo Smith.
Right.
It was just some drug related shit at
Yeah.
a young age that stuck
Yeah.
on my brother. Like
Who gave you those nicknames? Your parents?
no, hell no. My brother was on some
Yeah.
inhalant and was like going Shma, and he said he was seeing his lips stretch across the room and hit the wall.
Oh my fucking god.
Fuck, can't feel my arms.
Your mouth.
I mean, my mouth.
Okay.
And his friends who were there started calling him Shma.
Okay.
That's how he got his nickname.
Okay.
Me being overweight at a young age, even 3 years younger than him, I was bigger than him and his friends at some points. And they tried to call me Lil Shma. And I was like, no. And they were like, oh, yeah, we'll call him Schmo. It'll be Shma and Schmo. Schmiff. And it was
So
just
you
like,
just dropped the S. Was it like SMHO at
it
one
was like
point?
SHMO, like Schmo.
Okay.
They would be like,
Yeah.
Schmo. And I was like, yo, that sounds stupid.
Oh, beautiful!
And I eventually, I was like, yo, it's just Smo. Just lose the But, and then like girls still say it. They're like, oh, it's Schmo. And I'm like, I don't mind if girls say it, but if a guy says it, I'm like, yo, it's just Smo.
And this was early. Like this was given to you. This wasn't given to you as a rap name. This was just given to you as like the homie. Like, hey,
This was
that's
like the
Big
young
Smo and Little Smo.
Yeah, this is Schmo and Schmo. This was their
Yeah.
two brothers. They party like a motherfucker. We were always together because we weren't brothers, even though we're raised like that. It's still my nephew. You know what I'm saying? So it was like we kicked it as kids. We were raised like brothers, but we weren't related. Like we weren't brothers.
Right.
And we fucking raised hell. And he taught me a lot of what I shouldn't.
Now
have.
this is the same brother that was your sister's son, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because that's important because I think that's really cool because
So
he really is your brother,
Yeah.
but also your nephew.
My nephew at the same
Yeah,
time.
that's like some real family because I don't see that as much as you used to back in the day. Like you had a lot of cousins, a lot of family that
Yeah,
always, hey,
it ain't
that's my
like that
brother.
no more.
No, it's not.
So, and him being 3 years older than me as my nephew made it weird, because your uncles are usually older. It's not
Yep.
the other way around. So
Yep.
we had
I
a very
remember having a
unique-
few friends that would say that, like, that's my nephew, and I'm like, yeah, but you're only 14, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Yeah,
something
yeah,
weird
yeah.
happened. So yeah, I was running around with them. I got the nickname Smo, and then whenever I became a rapper, like whenever me and O-Rig were working in like 98, 99, I was like, I have to have like a rap name. And at that time you were either big this, little that, half this, so it was like a very generic rap thing in like the late 90s to be, like Biggie Smalls,
And you're overweight too, right?
and I
Like
was
you
big.
said, you're eating triple
Yeah.
cheese stack bacon sandwiches, eating
I
all
was
you
the
could
big-
eat.
Time to get paid, blow up like the world trade.
Yeah.
I was the
Yeah.
big white dude from the country, so it was Big Smo. Easy
In
does
that
it.
fast lifestyle, you're eating probably a lot of fast food. You're eating
Eating terrible,
anything-
cooking out a lot of stuff.
Slim
really.
Jims.
Eating terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, Smo was created, and then like the first album, the next album, the next. So around 2007, whenever the True South came out,
What you know about the true South? Every word is coming out my mouth. Listen up, you better learn something. Real is real, y'all strictly stunt. Time's up and all the game's over.
and this goes back to like you calling it Southern hip hop
Right.
or Southern rap. What did you call it?
Southern hip hop.
Yeah, Southern
Yeah.
hip hop.
Yeah.
So in 07, I wanted to coin what I did something just for me. And I remember whenever I saw Stack, he had a tattoo that said the New South on his arm.
Lambo, where you been? Round the block and make it back again. Crops ain't ready to cut yet. Fuck that, we're gonna drop a cassette. Put it on the market, hot shit. If you ain't got it, cop.
And I was like, I like that, but I need something more country, like more grassrooty. And that's whenever I came out with True South.
For the beats and have you jumping all around, steady moving your feet. But listen close to the story, there's a point to this hit. The True South's taking over, best get ready for this. Bush's boys, Big Smoke, Lil Nitty, 6. Who'd have ever thought the greatest would come out of the sticks like this? It's all.
Which is what I called my style of music. So before it was country rap, I called it True South.
I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, you were accepting country rap as a thing, but you were calling your style a True South country rap. It was just called
True South because Haystak wouldn't consider himself, even to this day, and especially at that point, a country rapper.
He was just a rapper.
He was just a rapper that was from like the outskirts of the city and did a lot of shit in Nashville. And he fucked with people like 8-Ball and Pistol, so he didn't fuck with, country. He was in the hood doing shit.
Now, was Starlito a thing around then too?
Corners waiting on the sun to rise, swerving on it, lit and lonely. Called and told her come outside. Text her back too old to try and sound polite. It read, please bring me a cup of ice. I promise.
Yeah, okay. Starlito. So they're all Starlito and Haystak and all them are doing their rap stuff, and you're over here doing your.
I'm an hour south of Nashville in the country doing
real south. Yeah,
the city version of what they're doing, but out in the country.
And when you hear this song, when you're feeling strong, just like your southern fried, red, white, and blue soul built with country pride. You can see it in my eyes, blood, sweat, and blistered hands. I'm brewed tough and hold it down for the simple.
And that was influenced based off of your childhood, right? Being around so many different cultures and being the boombox guy, but also being the dude that could be the cattle farmer. Yeah.
Being like, I'll tell you, my class ring tells it all. It had a lowrider on one side because my first car was a lowrider station wagon. Never seen one before in my life. I wanted a hearse, but my mom wouldn't let me.
Well, like an Oldsmobile, like the wagons?
It was a 87 Chevy Celebrity wagon. Yeah. And I took the springs out from under it and set it
like on a box Caprice, but with a wagon. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. And it was smoke gray, and I put you remember the J.C. Whitney catalog? It had all the parts in it, bro. It was like AutoZone magazine.
Yeah, you get the coils and
I ordered the chrome rocker panels. I had chrome fender trim. I had all the shit, bro. And my car was so popular when I was in fucking high school. It was like what I was first known for. And I was real popular around here. Even in the music, I skipped a part, like somewhere in there. No, it was about 07. Around this True South era, there was a rap station that started in Athens, Alabama. Actually, it was about 08. So it was after it was around this True South movement. Athens, Alabama had a radio station, 93.3, and they had a DJ who went by the name of Lil D. And Lil D had the 7 o'clock and the 8 o'clock show that he played 7 o'clock Monday through Thursday, 7 and 8 o'clock on Friday. And I was like, we picked up this radio station in my hometown, even better than we picked up Nashville radio. And I was like, man, this is an opportunity for me to try to get on the radio. I'm going to reach out to this DJ. And I hit him up and I introduced myself, told him what I was doing and what I was capable of. And he was like, yo, you know what I need? I need an intro to my show. Could you make me one? And I was like, done. And it was like the next week, me and O-Rig had produced like this 30-second country rap, but gangster beat intro for like Lil D. What? From the sticks to the bricks, he gonna bring you the hot mix. It's my boy 93.3 Lil D. What? And like at 7 o'clock, Monday through Thursday, everybody heard that when he came on. And it was yo, this your boy Big Smo. Y'all make some noise for my good homie Lil D. You know, so every night people were hearing my name on the radio, and I was nobody, bro. I'm just in this small town, like, and I just found this plug, and all of a sudden everybody's hearing me. The whole town's going bananas. I hit the 8 o'clock thing, so I'm 7 and 8 now. People are going bonkers. I'm doing shows. I'm like setting up my own shows.
All from that one question you asked, bro. And that's important. I want to come back for a second because I
Yeah.
see a lot of people, they're afraid to go to those high schools and say, hey, I got a kid-friendly song. Can we play it during the halftime show or whatever?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like that radio opportunity that you went to just go get
Bro.
played turn out and everyone's like, yo, who's on that intro? You
Yeah.
didn't even need to play your music over there. Just play that intro at the
Yeah,
beginning
no,
of
it was
every
a
show.
guaranteed spin every night,
Yeah.
twice on Fridays. And then he was having me come in the station and do an interview with me live, like
That's
once
awesome.
every couple of months. So it was like, yo, Smo's back in the studio. And like, I learned real quick, like to be myself in every room that I walk into.
Right.
Be that Southern hospitality. Walk in with a motherfucking jar of moonshine and a couple of pre-rolled joints.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And say, hey man, what's up, man? It's nice to meet you. My name's Big Smo. Here's some of our homemade moonshine. This is some Pokey Brown muscadine wine that one of my homies' grandpa makes. This is what we're smoking on right now. You know, it's some back then it was like some BC, some Beasters, but it was
Combo,
fire
yeah.
back then. Be like, yo, we just want to show love. And like, if you show up with that Southern hospitality, like
Yeah.
motherfuckers will love you and they will have you come back. So I kept that mentality through my entire career, even to this day. Like last interview I pulled up on, I took them jars of salsa and barbecue sauce that I made.
Hey,
So
that's what's up.
just for other artists out there, man, have that hospitality about yourself. Pull up and make your brand rain on people, man, like flower. So that's what we were doing, and we were getting love. And so that
Is that something you acquired? Is that something you just realized was working? Like Southern hospitality's there, but it sounds like you realized, hey, if I treat these people the same way that I'm treating folks at my house or in my circle, then they're going to show me that same respect. Was that something that you seen others do, or was it just how you come up?
I think it was a combination of watching my mother and how she operated because she was very much Southern Baptist and she loved to give for like she would give everything, you know, to other people. She took care of elderly people. She did everything for the church while taking care of us, while having to put up with my dad and his drunk ass and him playing golf and just like my mother was a fucking saint. She never drank, she never smoked, she never did drugs. She went to church on Wednesdays and Sundays, and she put up with some of the devilish men between my dad, her brother, and me and my brother. I mean,
She was a soldier, yeah.
she was a fucking soldier, you know. And like, there's even, and I miss my mother so much. She passed away in '03, and in 23, and it's just been like recently realizing that I'm at an age and a place in my life where I don't have parents. Um, is a real weird thing. Like it's something that I think that a lot of people just take for granted, and you never realize what it feels like to not have any parents until you don't have parents, and it's kind of weird. It's fucked
Scary.
up.
It's almost scary, bro.
You see, my pops just died, and it's been real hard. And I appreciate the prayer list and the sympathy cards and all my family and friends. Your tears and your hugs help to soak up all the pain so I can feel all the love.
It's like a, and it. So have you? It like has that affected? Would you say going through this music journey and before you really took off and now you're on the radio station, now you're really starting to make some waves, did it your family life was good at home, but was it like, hey, I'm your parents were older when they had you, right? So you're moving along. Did that influence you to go harder, or were you still close with your family? Is what I'm asking. It's
Still
like,
super close. So at this point, my dad, um, I moved out to the farm that I live on now, which is my family farm. When my grandfather passed away, my mother inherited her portion of the family farm, which had the farmhouse and the old general store. When she inherited that, I moved out here, and by this time, I'm a father. I'm I'm married to my first wife. I have my first daughter, and I move out here into this farmhouse. Me and O'Rig are already we're cutting records at his house and in my parents' basement, but now we're out here. My dad is the one who helped me turn the old general store out here that was my great grandfather and my grandfather's store into the recording studio that then became Yayota Records. That
that's
everybody's
crazy.
everybody's been here. Like Jelly Roll's been here, Little Wyte has been here, the Bandit's been here, Bubba's been here, Haystak's been here. Like every country rapper that I've fucked with has been out here. Uh, everybody has been like
Everybody.
if they fuck with me, they've been out here. People, it's a legendary location. Like a lot of
So
people.
anybody you've made a song with has been there.
Oh yeah, any song that was like between a time, yeah, a certain timeline.
Yeah.
Some people I've cut records with, like industry when I was in the more of the major label stuff would be in Nashville. But anything,
So at that when the studio was made, you still ain't even hit the television screen yet, right?
no. So we're just in like this is so the studio was 2002. We're cutting records all the way to '07. My dad passed away, uh, and I put out that True South. This is whenever I was starting to define my music.
Okay.
Just lost my dad to cancer, and this is during streaming wasn't a thing. We're still selling CDs.
Out of the trunk of the car, you're just hitting the
I mean,
street
that,
teams.
and I had a consignment deals that I would make with local record
Gas stations.
stores, like
Yeah.
Hastings,
Oh, okay. Yep.
New Life in
Yep.
Nashville, any record store, like they still sold CDs. I would go in there and say, "Hey, look, I'm the artist. I have the CDs. I'll sell them to you for $10. You can sell them for 17. Like
Okay.
you make 7, I'll make 10. Everybody's happy.
Yep.
Here's 50 copies." And then I would say, "Can I do an in-store signing?" And then they'd be like, "Yeah." So I would make flyers, advertise that, do a show in their parking lot, and then bring everybody in and sign autographs and take pictures. And like, that's how I built a fan base.
So that was really important, though. That was
That
really
was
the turning
Instagram.
point. Okay.
That was, yeah,
Okay.
Instagram.
Good
That
way
was
to put it. Yep.
TikTok.
Okay.
TikTok was like real TikTok on the clock. It was like
Right.
every second counted. So you couldn't just jump on a screen and say, "Look at me here, not doing nothing but talking to y'all." You had to actually get the fuck out there, put the speakers up, connect the wires, get the music going, make the flyer. There was nobody making the flyer for you. You had to make the flyer, go get the flyer physically printed. There was nowhere to post it. Then you had to walk around and fucking hand these flyers out. You had to have a street team if you were lucky enough to have that kind of fan base that you could count on some fans to go hit the next town over with some flyers. And then if you did this organically and correctly, the time on the flyer, Friday at 6 p.m., there would be 300 people in a parking lot.
Just waiting.
Waiting.
Yeah, waiting.
And we would be there and we would be like, "Fucking let's go." And then, you do 30-minute performance and then you're like, "Hey, everybody, come on in the store. We got CDs. We're going to autograph. All you got to do is buy a CD. We're going to autograph it, take a picture with you." And we're taking pictures of everything. We're already doing behind the scenes shit. We're filming on Sony Handycams.
Shooting music videos probably during all that.
We're doing all this stuff, man. So we had to do it all independently on our own. So 2007, in that album, this is just something to mention. Such a Haystak fan that in that album, when I lost my dad, that "Sail Away" song that he has, got me through me losing my dad. It really helped out a lot.
Okay.
And in that physical CD, I really gave a fuck about the information that I put inside the CD. So the special thanks, I always sat down and really spent like a lot of
Oh, in the
time.
booklet. Yeah, in the
Yeah,
booklets.
because this was physical shit, man. It came with a book, and the book had artwork and lyrics, and like we really gave a fuck about that stuff. So my special thanks in that album, I had given a shout out to Haystak. I was like, I want to give a special thanks to Haystak for his music helping me get through this hard time, because I dedicated this album to my dad, and he. It's funny because later he had gotten that CD after we started working together, and he read that, and he had never known that I did that. And it was something that we talked about. He thought it was really cool that before I even met him, that I was showing him love in the physical CD. Like, we still talk about that shit, bro.
So do you think that now that you're in this lane and you've created your own sound, what'd you call it? Real South? Is that what it
True
was?
South.
True South. So
It's
now that
True
you got this
South.
True South, you got your sound. Are you seeing the dudes like Bubba and Haystak and the way they're moving, and are you watching that? Is that inspiring you to keep going in this direction?
Absolutely. Like, huge fan of Bubba Sparxxx. Always give him a mega shout out for being an influence in my career. Like, not to mention, just I fucking love that dude. Like, he's a great guy. And then Haystak, I fuck with Haystak to this day. He's somebody that when my phone rings and his name pops up, it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I always answer. I never fucking don't.
That's really
cool. He's my OG. Because right after that album came out in 2008, I was filming a lot of stuff and was filming some shit in Nashville. Met a young homie who was like, "Yeah, I'm plugged with Stack. Big Snap?
Yeah. Yep.
Who used to be Lil Blaze?
Yeah.
That's who I ran into, and his dad, Big Blaze.
Okay.
Bumped into them.
Put you all okay.
So
all right.
Lil Blaze, aka Big Snap, he's 12 years old at the time.
At the time, holy crap!
Yeah, so I'm fucking with 12-year-old Big Snap, who is Lil Blaze.
Holy shit! Yeah.
And he's like, yo, I'm connected with Haystak, and I'm like, yeah, right. And he's like, no, I can get the feature, and I was like, how much? And he's like, $1,500, and I was like, done, set it up. So Haystak pulls up out here at Yoda Records, the fucking studio, and I'm already filming videos. I'm recording people left and right. I got people in and out of the studio. Like, we're running a business here. We're pressing CDs. We're pressing DVDs. We had done got to the point where we had done shot so much shit. We were pressing a DVD that we were selling with a CD in a fucking box.
Like
set.
Behind the scenes.
Like, it was all, the music videos.
The signing stuff.
Stuff, like all put together in one big movie thing.
So that was really important to you. You got the booklets, you got the DVDs, the packaging, the whole process of making that. That was really important to you, because I noticed you said you would sell them for 10 and they would sell them for 17, but I never heard you went there and signed all this stuff basically for free to help create that market for your fans to come meet you and learn you and become. That's how you got that solid fan base.
That's why
right in your face all the time.
My fan base is like 3 generational going on 4.
Yeah.
I like agree. If my granddaughter grows up on any of my music, that'll be 4 generations.
That's wild, ain't it?
So, like, I've met the grandkid of the kid that used to listen to my music with his dad. And now he's listening to it. He's like,
I've heard a lot of people say that their parents listen to you and Haystak, and I'm like, that's crazy.
So Stack came into my life right after my dad passed away, and Stack was like instantly the big homie for me, because I had just lost my best friend, my father, and Stack was like, he stepped in and was like, when he did that verse for me, and he saw what I was capable of doing, like in that early years, he said, yo, you want a job? And I was like, hell yeah, I want a job. He was like, bet, you work for me. And I was like, you say when? So I just waited. A couple weeks later, my phone rang. He was like, yo, come to Athens, Georgia, and we're gonna work on something. And I was like, all right. So I shot down to Georgia, and first time I worked for him doing music video stuff and sitting in the studio and kind of like learning who he was. Next thing I know, he takes me on a 32 city tour as his hype man and his merch guy and his videographer and his basic stage manager and his
Right-hand
day-to-day
man. Yeah.
right-hand man for a 32 city tour with fucking ICP.
That's wild. Do you think he did that because he knew you were going through a hard time with losing your father, and he was like, yo, let me kind of scoop this dude up and keep him busy? You think that was part of it?
I think that was just circumstantial. No, I think Stack knew he found a fucking golden,
A friend, a good person. Yeah.
He knew he found somebody. He knew I was a hard worker, because he saw what I had already created, and he was like, "You did all this out of this shack?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro."
Yeah, that's crazy because they were probably having to go to these big engineers. And,
yeah, man, Stack been everywhere. And he like, we talked when we first met. Like, I told him the rundown of who I was and where I come from. And like, I'm telling you, me and dude hit it off like long lost brothers instantly. Like, I instantly had a connection with him. I've been listening to him preach to me. Big ass white boy.
Just call me. Now that you know.
And here's the thing. I have to give Stack so much credit, man, because if I don't, I'd be lying. I just wouldn't be telling the full story.
Right.
Working for him, and if you go back to my earlier music, like 07, The True South, and you listen to my vocal tone then, it was a lot harder like this.
It's coming out my mouth. Listen up, you better learn something. Real is real, y'all strictly stunt. Time's up and all the game's over.
I'm a killer like that. When I worked for Stack as his hype man, I had to mimic him as his hype man.
I got you.
So my hard burst, it was more like this. Turned into this right here and had to have the swagger like this when he said Southside.
Live for this, die for this, love this, I am this, the struggle, the failure, we worked and made progress, take a man out the south, not the south, out the man, that summer would never really wanna us if you can, I'm hard to look.
I had to be able to say Southside.
Yeah, and match it. Yeah.
So because of that 4 years I worked for him as his opening act, his hype man, his everything, he put me in a position to like where my voice evolved into what it is now, and what it is that became popular compared to what it was before I worked to him.
He helped you to find what you really were comfortable doing and what your sound was.
He also cut me loose so I could go be so I could go be Big Smo and not be Big Smo who works for Haystak.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
He knew that if I kept working for him, I would never be bigger than him.
But yeah, that's true because you're his hype man. So of course,
he cut me loose, and he gave me some beats, bro. He said, "Hey," he said, "these beats right here are too country for me. You should try these." And one of them was Kicking It in Tennessee.
Hey, it's a party over here. Bring your people to the other side. Take them back roads. You might want to bring your other ride.
Oh shit, that's wild, bro.
Yeah.
Damn.
So like, without him,
that song never happened. That's not,
bro. Country rap may not have happened, and I don't mean to like. You just never know what in the timeline, if you remove a key element, what that changes down the road.
Well, you know, the story of Stack reminds me of that radio station. It reminds me of you took a shot of trying to do something and it turned out to be something completely different, which helped to alter your career in a whole different way you never thought it could. Yeah.
And Stack was like, you know, me and Stack would go out. We'd be in white t-shirts, Dickies, bandanas,
It's
white
wild.
tennis shoes. Like we were head shaved.
Yeah, like the franchise boys, bro. You go out there.
We were the big ass white boys. And when we stepped on stage, we looked like twins because we were both big.
Yeah.
And like that's just how we ran it. And he was like, look, you're gonna have to put your work boots on, because I was pouring concrete. He was like, put your work boots on.
Don't you own a concrete business?
No, I just poured concrete for a good period of time. Like
I've ran into people that said, man, I had my foundation poured by a Smoke's Concrete Company. Maybe it was who you worked for.
Probably, maybe, because they poured concrete for a long time. Some of them still do. But yeah, I poured concrete. But Stack was like, look, you have to get back. Like, you have to stop being me. Even though I've paid you to be me, you have to be you. And I'm going to need you to do that on your own. And
yeah, get out of the Dickies, get out of the white tees, get out of the bandanas.
Go get busy. And I was like, okay. So I did he gave me that beat for kicking it in Tennessee, and I did my country thing on it. You know what I'm saying? And that's
back to the shack, right? You went back to the shack.
We never even left. Like, Stack was out here in the shack cutting vocals.
No way, bro. So you're doing this in here? Yeah, let's go.
I was his engineer for 4 years. Listen, bro, this is how I'm so good at everything. I had to do everything for fucking Haystak.
Do you think that's important nowadays? Do you think that's what the disconnect in this lane? Because I see a lot of dudes just sending it off to people, and that, how can you really convey your art if somebody else is constantly putting their hands on it?
Like, if you don't know how to swab the deck, you shouldn't fucking captain the ship. That's how I feel about it. Like, I told my daughter that today. I said, you have to start at the bottom, not because that's where you belong, but if you want to learn the ins and outs of how something works, you start at the motherfucking bottom, and then you work your way up. And then you'll learn, when you get to the top, you'll know how that entire fucking operation works, because you started where the fucking bottom was. So I believe that you can't get to where, like, here's the thing. I'm not going to say that. There's a new bottom nowadays. It used to be cushioned. It used to be much deeper.
Yeah, I agree.
You had to do more.
Yeah, you had to fall all the way on your face and then climb all the way back up. Now you can kind of like land on your leg a little bit, and they'll kind of lean you back up onto your feet. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I'm not saying that makes it any easier. And I'm not trying to say that these guys today got it like shortcuts. I'm just saying that it used to take a lot more work to get a little bit done. And we worked really hard for a long time to make sure that what is being done today even got started.
Well, I think you're right, because I think there was less people trying to get into the lane, but you had to work harder in order to make an impression, because there wasn't social medias. Now there's more people in the lane, and almost you still have to work as hard, but as long as you're consistent, then you're there. So I see what you're saying. You had to outwork everybody before. Now you just got to kind of keep up with everybody.
You just got to keep up. You just got to engage.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They make it easy for you to engage. You just have to hit play or record or live or whatever.
And your engagements were those signings at these record stores that you had to go beat feet on the street and figure out where they, I get what you're saying.
It was driving from state to state, city to city, state to state, in like a fucking Ford Escort station wagon with the PA and a fucking tote full of merchandise. Like, we didn't even have totes back then. It was funny saying that, because I was like, wait a minute, we didn't even have totes. We had fucking bags. No, we had the milk crates, like what we kept our vinyl in. Like, we would fold shirts up and sit in there, and we would.
Bro, I use that to carry my baseballs. I'd put baseballs in those,
because we were having to go and get CD spools.
Yep.
Come back, burn 100.
Burn 100 of them. You had the little external heart burn things all attached to the
bitches, and we'd pop out like 8 at a time. We would write on it.
Yeah.
With a Sharpie, my MySpace
Yeah, you
My-
buy the white labels, the white
my
labels.
home phone number.
Yeah.
Not even a sale. It was like the fucking landline.
How to get another one if you broke
Yeah,
that one.
it was like hit me up, like this is me. Put it in the sleeve and then go down to fucking like wherever we were going. We always had a crate of CDs on us. Nashville, walk around, be like, yo, you want to check this out? $5? And they'd be like, nah, man. Be like, well, here, have it for free.
Yep.
And then a week later, you would get a fucking phone call, and he'd be like, hey, man, you remember me? You just gave me a CD last week. And I'm like, oh, yeah, man, I remember that. Like, what's up? He was like, dude, this shit's fucking awesome. Like, calling your landline. This was the old DM.
Yeah. That's how I'm picturing it. I'm picturing it like, wow, bro.
This is the in-person DM, bro. This was the slide. It was like fucking you gave your landline out and you're like answering your home. You're eating dinner. Like this is how my management deal came. Like I was just fucking doing my thing and it was on a cell phone, but like I'm in the middle of doing this type shit, this organic hustle, and I get a call and I'm like, hello? And it's like, hey, is this Big Smo? I'm like, yeah, who is this? And it's like, this is Dan Nelson. I'm calling from Los Angeles. I'm like, Los Angeles? What the fuck do you want?
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm with a management company and we're interested in talking to you. And I was like, I don't fuck with people in Los Angeles.
Yeah. I was maybe born over in that area, but I'm true South. Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I don't fuck with that. And like, I just remember laughing it off and being like, who the fuck calls from LA? This was like, I'm thinking this is like the first scam, first scam ever. Yeah. And a couple weeks later, this fucker calls back.
So hold on, let's go back a little bit. So you requested to be on the radio. You ended up making an intro for the radio. Then you got to go on a 32, what was it? 32 town,
city, back-to-back
32
shows.
city.
Yeah,
with Haystak. Now at this point, you're just doing it as independent as they are. You're hitting the shack. You're doing your own thing. You're signing CD. Nobody is telling you what to do whatsoever. You're just.
And at this point, I got the song with me and Jelly Roll and Lil Wyte. Country boys, it don't get no better, man. We back road moonshine, sipping in my Chevrolet, blowing on that killer hay, hoping I can smoke away every. I've done come out with another album, the American.
But now at the time, Lil Wyte was the only one really popping, and he wasn't even really truly popping at the time, right?
No, he was just side popping.
Yeah. He was still going.
Done his thing though. He was with 3-6. Like Lil Wyte's always been legit.
Yeah, that's when. Yeah, but he wasn't like he hadn't cut Oxycontin yet. He hadn't cut any of the songs that really went nuts.
Or maybe it was. When did he do Oxycontin? This is like 08, 09.
Yeah, maybe then he did. Maybe it was, but I don't think it took off right away. I want to say it didn't take off.
It was kind of taboo at first, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it wasn't until like maybe 2010 that it jumped.
Let's see.
Yeah, make sure I'm right about that. I don't want to have the wrong math on somebody because Lil Wyte's an OG. I respect him 1,000%. Love that dude. And like I'm
03, bro. It dropped in and it probably didn't pop till like 06.
Right. So like that had been out, bro. So he was legit by the time we had worked.
Yeah.
He was probably actually big and then kind of was on his
way down.
Not his decline, but he was just riding the shit.
Yeah.
He had linked with Jelly and they were doing shit. They had a show together. They came out here to the studio and we did that song Country Boys that was produced by Mr. Sneed. And then who else was out here? Stack had been out here.
But really, it sounds like there was a lot of hip hop, and it was just like everybody was still kind of trying to find really who they were.
It was all hip hop. Nobody was trying to be country but me. I'm telling you, the only time that people talked about country
was when they talked about you.
Was when they talked about having to come see me out here. Because
we gotta go to Smo and the Sticks, man, motherfucker.
Well, I'm telling you, if Jelly ever has the conversation about it, he'll let you know. Like I know he sings about back roads, and I'm sure he's been on some, but like back in the day when it was his early years, This was his trip to the country.
Yeah, his back roads he's singing about were on the way out to Smo's house.
And it was really, he wasn't out here, but, you know, a handful of times, but he was always, Jelly Roll won a freestyle, one of my first freestyle competitions that I held in that club on 4th Avenue where I used to perform at. Eventually I wound up renting the place out, holding my own freestyle battles. This is like 05.
In Nashville. We're talking downtown Nashville on 4th. You're
4th
just
Avenue.
holding freestyle battles.
Me and
No way.
O-Rig. And Jelly Roll came in. He had just got off work. I think he was like either a dishwasher or bussing tables at somewhere. White button-up shirt, like he had been, you know, in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Mullet hair, and just a big kid. He was just a kid. He comes in and fucking murks this fucking freestyle competition. And the prize was a 3-song production deal with Yayoda Records.
Okay.
So Jelly Roll.
That was your record label. That was your record label.
So
Yeah.
he won the freestyle competition, won the record deal with me, never came and got it, but wound up out here on some other shit, like with people.
Yeah.
And it's just, we've always joked about it. Like I literally owe Jelly Roll like a 3-song demo.
Still to this day. Yeah, that's wild.
Hey man, I'm good for it. But yeah, we cut that song together. And then, you know, I had them both back out, not to jump ahead too much, but whenever we started filming the TV stuff, I had Jelly Roll and Lil Wyte come out to be a part of the production on that.
No, that's perfect. So now you got this music rolling. You're starting to, you got your studio popping. People know who Big Smo is. They know what your movement is. They understand. Yeah, you've been into the Juggalo meets. You've done. People know who you are. Now, that moment that you've decided to take this and run with it, put out the production, right? Do your music. This guy's hitting you up. Does he call you back? Because you kind of cut him off.
Yeah,
Does he come back to you now?
Well, yeah. So I'm working with, like, at this time, I'm still working with O-Rig. We're doing our thing. We're working on new music. I'm working with Mr. Sneed. Okay. MySpace is a thing right now. Okay. YouTube is a thing, obviously, at this point.
Yeah.
I'm filming all the music videos myself. I'm doing all the edits. I'm doing all the first uploads, you know, of these records and these videos, and like all for the first time. And let's see, it's like that's whenever I reached out through MySpace to Brahma Bull whenever he was doing the double wide.
We don't need bright lights or them neon signs. We don't need bar fights when we deep in the pines. And we don't need bartenders when we tapping his cake. Passing out in my truck so I can sleep in
group with Jackie.
So that's Moccasin Creek, Jeff McCool, right?
Yes. So before Moccasin Creek, he was with Jackie Strickland, Bottleneck.
Okay.
And they had a group, and it was another guy who was the DJ or the hype man, and it was called Double Wide.
It's like watching CNN. I had one of them the other day ask me this, saying, where the woods at? I ain't never really been into the woods.
So it was McCool, Jackie, and this other guy. I reached out to them. I saw their shit. They were down in Florida, like Palaca, Florida. I reached out to them, and I'm like, yo, this is dope. We're doing similar shit. We should do something. And we did this song called Home Sweet Home. This was like this was when we were doing the first digital collaborations. So me and Sneed had already been doing the digital collabs because he was in Ohio and I'm here in Tennessee, and we met over MySpace and we started sending files back and forth. I would record my vocals, send him the files, or he would record his vocals, send me the files.
That wasn't really a thing up till that moment, right? Like that was possible.
The first time. That was when it was just possible, and we were taking advantage of that shit and doing it. So I had hit Jeff, and we were like, let's do this. So we did that song, Home Sweet Home, and it was a smash. I was like, yo, we're on to something. Now we're connecting Tennessee and Florida.
Either way is the way I stay when I'm home, sweet home. From the alligator swamps to the Tennessee pines, I got an old cane pole and some homemade wine, dusty old boots and my old man's.
And they were down in Florida doing these, like, they weren't rappers. They were rappers, but they weren't trying to be rappers. They were like party DJs.
Mud Parks. Yeah, they were in
They were
like the mud
party hosts. You know what I'm saying? They were like the first, I guess, like the Justin Times type, you know, like
Okay. Yeah.
the first,
Promoters.
like,
Yeah.
party people. It was like, we're going to have a big party, call Double Wide and have them come out. They'll bring their equipment. They'll play our favorite music, and then they'll get on the microphone and they'll fucking act like
They were
rappers.
like hype men. Oh, I see what you're saying. They would put on the show. They would get up there, maybe do a couple of their songs. Hey, yo, run that, spin them wheels. Like they were literally like kind of how you were with Haystak. Like
they were the hype.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay,
So
but they weren't really rappers. They were just kind of like getting into the scene.
And they were
rapping, but they weren't
were
like
rapping.
country rappers, if you would say.
I'd say they may have been some of the first country rappers from Florida.
Really?
Oh yeah, and there's no doubt that those boys are as country as Cowspit.
Oh yeah, no, I know
Like,
that, and I wonder why they get lost in the transition of all
Bro,
this.
don't let ne'er country person try to pull neither one of those dudes redneck card, because they will tap you out.
I believe
Those
that.
boys
I
come
believe that.
from, Jackie comes from a part of Florida, and I only know because he invited me there and showed me, where it's just pine trees and like this weird mud sand, you know, and
Probably somewhere around Perry, Florida.
it's different kind of country, but it is fucking country. And then like Jeff McCool, he comes from, I mean, Jeff's had a good life. He's got great parents.
Yeah.
Not to say anybody's had a bad life. I'm just saying Jeff's got some great parents. Jeff had a good football career, I believe, in high school and possibly even college. And then he got into, you know, partying and entertaining, and then that's what led him to where he's at.
So you're getting around the partying and entertainers. You're also getting around like just the more hip hop driven people that aren't into the entertainment aspect. And then now you got you got the first real country rappers probably coming out of Florida. You got Haystak, which is not considered a country rapper, but he's got a lot of influence in all types of everywhere in Nashville. What changed that Smo said, you know what, I'm going to the TV? What made that? What made you change that thought process? Because you told the guy, hey, I don't want to talk to you, bro.
He called back.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, but
this is after you've worked with Jeff and understood the party promoting.
Me and Jeff have been out doing shows. Like there was a whole thing that happened, but with me and Jeff and Jackie, we did this whole project called, the album was called Kinfolk. And it was a banger. Well, Jackie fucking had the right to decide to not be a part of my label and leave. He was like, I don't want a part of this. I was like, yo, it's an 80-20 split. I'm only taking 20% because I'm the one that's producing all this shit. Like, I got to have something.
Yeah, you got to make something.
Like,
right. You ain't working for free, right?
I'm going to own 20% of this because I'm creating it all. But, like, you're going to get 80. It felt like a good deal as an independent label trying to do things for people because these guys didn't have a budget. Right. I was like, you come up here and stay in the shack. We'll work 12-hour days recording, and then we'll fucking party and wake up and do it again. So we were doing all this at the time. And I don't know if you've ever heard the song Hick Life with me and Jackie. And yeah, it's an old country rap, OG country rap song.
Sipping from a jar, swimming in the water hole, living this hick life, wild as a rodeo. Hick line, I'm raised on a dirty road. Grew up doing what my daddy told. Sipping that jar, swimming that water hole, living this hick life, wild like a rodeo.
We did that for a clothing line, Hick Life clothing line. We wound up getting fucked out of our entire deal. Dude stole the song. I've never seen a fucking Hick Life dime.
Didn't it turn into a Southern clothing outfitter too? That Hick Life.
It was that first. It was that we wrote the theme song for the clothing line.
And it was like spelled out in like mud.
Yeah,
It
mud.
looked like it was slang with
Yep.
mud. I remember those shirts really selling in Florida big time.
Yeah,
It
big
was
time.
big
Because that's
time.
where he was from. That was where, what's that fuck boy's name? I don't want to talk bad about nobody. Anyway, the guy offered us a deal to where we would have ownership in Hick Life Clothing if we did the theme song for it, and we were like the models, the people that wore the shit, and we went out and wore it on stage and everything. Like he would sponsor us.
Yeah, it was like
So we
your
were-
response. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we
dope.
were gonna
Yeah.
get like fucking 20% of his like the Hick Life brand between all of us.
Yeah.
And so we were all for it, and then he wound up fucking us out of that deal. This piece of shit bought bigsmo.com while he was here at my house, because that's what he did. He was in the early stages of buying just .coms, and
he was one of those guys, bro,
Yeah,
that
he
he
was
knew
one of
he could
those
buy it out from underneath you.
boys. Yeah, so
Wow.
he asked me, he said, "Do you have your own website?" I was like, "Nah, I just use MySpace." And he was like, "Okay." He went and bought my domain on my property. He was probably here when he did it.
What a piece of
And
shit, dude.
when I signed my deal with Warner, and Warner wanted me to have bigsmo.com,
They couldn't get
and
it.
it was owned, we found out he was the one that owned it, traced it back to when he bought it, and it was when we were going through that shit, when he was here at my crib, and he was trying to sell it back to me for $30,000.
Bro, it was like the first troll, bro. He hit you with a troll, like an early troll.
The first troll.
That's
The
wild.
owner of Hick Life. What was that fuck boy's name?
That's
Sean
wild.
something. Fuck. Somebody's gonna know that piece of shit. Anyway,
That's crazy to think about though, because
so all that happened. Listen to this. All of that happened. Jackie said, "Fuck this, I'm out. I'm going to be bottlenecked by myself."
Yeah.
We were like, "Cool." Jeff said, "I'm staying. I'm here with Smoke." So I was already working with Charlie Bonnet from my album before called American Made.
At the time to let you take control, cause lately it seems like you the only one that knows the truth about my destiny and where this road will go. Living my life like an old dirt road. I remember where I started, but
And I introduced Jeff and Charlie. And I was like, "Yo, we're going to work on this country rap shit. Jackie's gone. Fuck it. We're going to take all these songs that we got, and I'm going to add a verse to everything. Charlie's going to play guitar. Sneed's going to rap on some shit. We're going to make this collaborative project and bring in these other dudes, a couple of guys from South Georgia and some people McCool knew, some other people I knew. And we made this Kinfolk album. And we were about to do this whole Kinfolk thing, man. And fucking Jeff... and no, it was really, I think it was Charlie Bonnet. I was still thugging and I was still hustling, and we were doing shows out in Colorado. This was like, we were out there in this is like 2011 at this point, 2010, and definitely 2010. And because I was out in Colorado during the green rush when cannabis first went legal out there in 2009. And I had like a booking agency business out there that was booking my own shows, but I had my own agency in Colorado. So because I was going out there and getting packs. So I had my own bus that me and Jeff bought from the airport here in Nashville, and I turned it into our tour bus. And we were driving it out to Colorado and doing shows. And I put fucking 50
loaded down, bro.
Charlie Bonnet didn't like that shit, bro. He was like, "Oh, I can't do
I'm
this.
out."
I'm
Yeah.
out."
Yeah.
And Jeff and I was like, "It's whatever, bro. This is how because nobody wanted to come off of their percentage of anything." And I'm like, "Y'all don't understand.
That's how you're profiting. Yeah.
That's how it works. That's how I got to have operational funds in order to pay for the fuel to get us to the next show. If we get paid let's say we get paid $1,500 for a show, and it's me and Charlie Bonnet and Jeff. Everybody takes $500 and goes and fucks it off. And then who's going to pay for the gas for the next trip out?"
Yeah, exactly. You were using the Cocaine Cowboys ideas, bro. He's like, "I'm going to fund my trips." Yeah.
Does that make sense? I was like, so I had to fund this with something. So I'm doing that. Charlie Bonnet's like, "Fuck this." Anyway, Jeff and Charlie wind up bouncing on me and they go form Moccasin Creek.
Yeah.
I get a call, and I'm cutting music in Nashville, the studio with fucking Chance from Big and Rich's crew, and they call and they're like, hey man, we're out. And I was like, what do y'all mean? And they're like, well, we're forming a new thing. And they sent me like the MySpace. I seen the MySpace thing, and it was like Moccasin Creek. I was like, Moccasin Creek. I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Like
Yeah.
I hollered at y'all Plug Boys, you know, and that was
Yeah.
like the first country rap beef.
Yeah.
I'd say it was probably like
When you guys fell out and they went their own way, and you're like,
Yeah.
damn, what do I do now?
I was like, fuck these dudes, man. Like, I'm just
Oh,
gonna
because
do
you were making waves, bro, and then now you start linking with some people, and then people start falling off, and you're like, shit, what is
Yeah.
happening? Yeah,
I
I
was like,
see.
fuck, whatever. I'm just gonna keep doing me. So that's whenever management called was right before that. It was when me and Jeff was still together. The manager called back. He said, I'm coming out to one of y'all's shows. I'm like, cool. We're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Me and Jeff and somebody else, Charlie. And he comes out and he watches the show. He's got some executive producer from LA with him, this black lady, TV exec. They watch the show, and he pulls me to the side after the show, and he's like, yo, I want to talk to you. And I was like, all right, well, what'd you think about everything? And he was like, I want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to these other dudes. I'm here for you. I'm not here for the whole package.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, all right, we'll talk about it, you know? And I just let it be. That's what it was. Well, these dudes wind up fucking bouncing. Whether or not they felt the energy, we were already having some hard times.
Oh, it was never said. It was you never went to them and been like, they don't want nothing to do with you guys, just me. It was just kind of like,
no, it was like an
it out.
understood thing, and maybe they felt it. I don't think that Dan Nelson, the manager from LA, and Jeff, I don't think they had good energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they butted heads. They're probably a
Jeff
lot.
drank a lot.
Alike.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it was, and that was a night that Jeff walked off stage during the show. Like, he was really, you know,
Yeah. It was different. It was a different time, bro. It was like,
a different
I
time.
get it. Y'all were younger.
We would get frustrated. Like, there would be times I'd walk off stage.
It's actually cool to hear, because I've heard Jeff McCool talk about his story and say things like this. Like, bro, I'll walk right off that stage. And
he was.
He's really about that life, bro. Yeah.
Like, you know, we all battle different shit. Jeff has some anxiety stuff that, like, when he knows when to walk away, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's good for him. And I think that's a healthy thing to know about yourself. So,
well, that makes sense, because he's got a companion dog now, and now he's got one of them dogs, bro. That makes sense. Yeah. So, like, speaking on that anxiety that he had before, he now comforts that with his support animal. That's real shit.
And you gotta respect that about people, man. Like, you gotta, if that's what somebody is, you gotta just respect that. So I respect that.
Everybody deals with stuff differently.
I don't hold any ill will towards any of these guys from my past timeline, because we're all adults, and like, we were all just learning as we were going. None of us knew what we were doing. Like, we didn't know anything about the music industry. We didn't have, like, my big homie was Haystak. He taught me more music street shit than like music industry.
He didn't teach you shit about the industry, right?
Industry. So when my manager showed up, he taught me everything about the industry. Now, this is
cool. This is the lane can learn from this right here, because if you look at the independent lane as it sits right now, nobody knows about the industry. None of these dudes really are part of the industry.
Yeah, nobody's doing the proper paperwork. Nobody's doing the filing. Nobody's doing like the industry standard stuff that you're supposed to do with all of these releases. And it's
now, you were doing it even as independent, though. Like, that's the thing that's important, is you can make the moves as an independent artist, just not being like the mainstream ain't doing nothing that nobody can do. They just have a bigger machine.
No, major label's just a bank, bro. It's like a bank that knows all the dope boys.
Right.
So,
right. And they can plug you in anywhere.
You're like, yo, I'm trying to get some dope. And it's like, well, if you come over here, I'll let you borrow the money. And I happen to have 7 dope boys here.
That you go to either one you want.
Like, well, I got one that hustles radio, one that hustles, you know, TV, one that does magazines, and you got A&R. You got all these different things that a label offers you. Right. But it all is really in the form of a loan that you then spend with them.
Yeah, it's you're paying that interest rate's getting you, right? So they're
Yeah,
giving you
it's
the
like
money, but you're not really earning anything at the end of the day.
it's like if you went to the bank and borrowed the money to buy the car that they sold in the bank car lot. You know, like
Oh,
that's what
you're
the
just
labor
borrowing the money to pay them back the
pay them.
money that
Yeah,
they're
to
gonna pay you.
and then they're going to take that money from you to pay
Anyway,
them back, and then
right.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big fuck fest.
It's
So
a big debt. You're incurring a
yeah,
huge
it's a
debt.
big debt. But here's the thing: like in 2012, I didn't know that as well as I know in 2025.
So they come in, you didn't know that, and you had a bunch of buddies that were with you. They kind of all went their separate ways. So now Big Smo's got to make a decision.
It's just
Yeah.
me. I'm on my
Yeah.
own,
Yeah.
and it's O-Rig, me
Yeah.
and O-Rig.
But you
It was
guys are
all
doing it all. You're doing the videos. You're doing everything. The at that point, social media is starting to take off. So you're trying to keep up with that. Yeah.
we're
Yeah. Yeah.
popping. We're popping on all. And so here's what really happened. Management called, right? We meet up. Jeff McCool and them go their own way. Right around that time that they're splitting, and I'm doing me. Kicking It in Tennessee, the music video I had already put it out. Okay. I had put out a video before Kicking It in Tennessee called How to Kill a Chicken, where I showed how to catch a chicken, cut its head off.
They got you for that one.
PETA, of
Yeah.
all people.
Yeah.
Of all people. PETA had that video yanked down off of YouTube back when YouTube first came up. It was one of my first videos I ever uploaded. And because I got flagged for that out of spite, I took the clip of me cutting the chicken's head off and I put it right in the middle of my Kicking It in Tennessee video as like a flash of like
flashback. Yeah. Comes in and comes right back to the video.
It's out. So, and it's right when I said, who's going chicken hunting in that video, which is a shout out to ICP, who I was on tour with Haystak. So now full circle.
Yeah.
If anybody ever wants to know why in Kicking It in Tennessee, I go, who's going chicken hunting? That's an ICP thing.
Okay.
So,
what's it for? Chicken heads?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hunting
All
for the
right.
chicken
I
heads.
see. Yeah,
Exactly.
I see.
That's what the hatchet's for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Yeah. So,
you've been to gatherings and stuff because you had to go all.
I played the gathering.
That's wild, dog. That's wild.
Gathering.
Yeah. Not a lot of people can say that.
I don't know any country rappers that can.
I think the only people I've ever heard, I think Johnny Cashville played at a gathering, right?
Really?
Rehab.
I mean,
yeah.
I
I think when he toured with Little Wyte and them.
Okay.
Not
that
toured.
would make sense.
Yeah,
I'm sure Lil Wyte. I wouldn't consider Lil Wyte a country rapper.
No, me either, but it's still Southern hip hop. See, that's where I separate a little bit from a lot of this because I feel like there's not country rap is such a narrow lane that it's like even Upchurch only puts out some country rap songs. He raps, he does country, he does rock. Yeah. And there's just a certain pocket that country rap kind of lands in. And I think it's hard to be like, how do you govern something that's not really even something? You can't. You can't.
You don't even try. Why even waste your time? It wasn't designed to be governed. That's what makes it country, bro. It don't have no rules. It barely.
Well, I think there's still a little bit of protection that needs to wrap around it, but how much? You know what I mean? Like that's why I think you're really important to the lane because you have that independent understanding. You have that mainstream understanding. You've seen both sides of it. And I think that's also kind of why hey, we don't need to get Big Smo's opinion on this stuff anymore because he knows a little bit too much. You know what I mean?
Well, and this is how I learned. When I put that chicken getting his head cut off in the middle of that video, that got attention.
Yep.
That's when the record label called. So I got the manager. And the manager's like, so what do you want to do? And I'm like, yo. And at the same time, the record label had just called. Like at the same time, they're calling and they're like, hey, this is Warner Brothers Nashville. And this is like the radio guy, the head of their radio, Chris Stacy. And he's like, hey, first of all, he sees the video. He YouTube comments, like, is this real? I gotta know. And like I'm checking in live, I'm checking the comments and replying back. better believe it. You know, like it's
Yeah,
real.
tell me you haven't been to the country without telling me you haven't been to the country, right?
So he gets my contact through my MySpace and my YouTube and shit,
Yeah.
which my number was on there. We always put our number on there. This fool calls me and he's on the lake and he's like, "Hey, is this Big Smo?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "Are you fucking serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "My name is Chris Stacy. I work for Warner Brothers Nashville. I run the radio department." He was like, "Is this fucking real?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." And he was like, "I like this. Do you want to meet for lunch?" And I was like, "Absolutely."
Oh
And
shit.
then like he was like, "All right, we'll set it up. You know, this is my number." So call him back, and I go have a meeting with him, and he's like, "You know what? I'm interested in this. I don't really know what to do with it, but I'm interested. So just know that." And then John Rich calls me like right after that. He's like, "Is this Big Smo?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Come to my house." And I'm like, "Okay." You know, he sends me this address and I drive up to Love Circle in Nashville. It's like this fucking spaceship that I walk into in this elevator and you go up and he's got like 50,000.
That's his house. Holy
It's his
shit.
house. And then like he's asking me, he's like, "I just need to know, how real are you? Like, is this real?" And like, "Tell me." And I just sat there and told him, I was like, "This is who I am." I basically just we had the conversation me and you have had.
Yeah.
Up to this point, and he was like, "Okay." And then my manager gets in, he's like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "Well, Warner Brothers is wanting to fuck with me. Like, let's go see what they want." So we go over there, and before I even sign my deal with them, Sony ATV hits me up wanting to do a publishing deal with me and make me a songwriter for Sony. And I'm like, I'm all about that. I want that.
Yeah, because the writing goes back to the writing when you were younger, right?
Yeah, Sony so bad I could taste it. So I got my pub deal before I even got my record deal, and it was good because my pub deal, I got more from it than I would from a Warner publishing deal from Warner Chappell at that time.
So you were really like the first to kind of jump into that type of record label. I mean, Haystak wasn't messing with no record labels at this point, right? Bubba Sparxxx, yeah, Bubba.
Now, Stack was doing big deals, man, because Stack was doing deals with Koch, and he was doing.
But he's more of like the hip hop side, though. That's my point. Like he's not really even. He's not cutting the heads off of chickens and putting them in his music video. You're probably one of the first to have that type of response.
That got me ready for these conversations.
Okay.
He's the one that got me ready because he told me stories about the stuff that he had to go through and how to maneuver through this.
Well, you're going through it in a hustler mindset too, from being in the street and, moving what you need to move. You kind of, you already knew the 80-20 deal. Hey, I'm giving you. So when you went to these dudes, they couldn't just pull 50-50 over your eyes. You said, no.
I was like, and my record deal was not, it's not like I got some amazing deal. At that point, I didn't even care. It wasn't even about the money.
It was the exposure.
It wasn't even about the money, bro. I've never been like a high-end dude. Like I said, I poured fucking concrete for a living until I was doing so many rap shows that I was putting.
It's hard to be high end with a concrete pour. You're dirty all the time.
I had to choose music over fucking manual labor and physical labor because of the scheduling. But like ever since I made that change, like I never cared about the money. The money happens all the time. It just happens. Like it's so weird. I still don't even pay attention to the money. Somebody called me and told me I had a gold record. I was like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. They were like, "Well, did you know that Working had gone gold?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know.
Don't pay attention.
I don't have any plaques. I don't even have a YouTube plaque. I have 0 plaque. I got 2 certifications on my wall, and it's where I judged indoor cannabis at the Cowboy Cup 2.
That's more important. My dog said that's more important to me than the freaking plaques. That's what's
Shit is on my wall and framed.
Yeah,
So
he
I
didn't take
did
pride
a-
in that marijuana stuff.
Yes,
he
I
he
do,
said,
I
"I'm
do.
a judge of that flower, bro. I'm gonna display my." Yeah, that's cool
Well,
though.
it's the 2 out of the 4 years that I judged where I picked the winner both of those 2 years.
Well,
So
that's cool to hear because, a lot of people see Smo and they see Smo on the TV. They see, Big Smo, yeah, King of the Sticks, the Hip Hop Live. You know what I'm saying? And they think, oh, this dude's all about the money. Did you get a lot of criticism from your peers when this transition into the record label happened?
um nah.
No.
Nah, because it never changed me. Like I never did anything that looked like money. I drove the same K5 Chevy, the old truck that I had.
Yep.
I didn't run out and buy anything new.
So nothing changed. So nobody really even took notice to it. You were just getting a little bit fatter of a paycheck and you had more resources at this point.
Yeah, I just was trying to see what I could do with the opportunity.
Okay.
That's what I cared about. The money, I didn't give a fuck about. The money, like I was already happy in life financially, and I struggled, but I was happy with the
But
struggle. I like
okay.
struggle.
Okay, and at this point, how's your health? Because we talked about your eating
I was
issues.
super
You're,
fat.
are you big? Are you?
Yeah,
And
I'm
this is
big.
going in now. We're about to be shooting the. Now you, I heard you talk before. You shot a lot of different takes for different
Yeah.
shows that you never landed on. So at this point, is that what we're doing now? Like
Yeah.
right going into the gate, once you start working with these labels, they want to get you in front of the world, right? They
So
want to
what
show the world who Big Smo is.
so what we did is before we did the TV show, we were with Warner Brothers. So I signed the deal with Warner, signed the deal with Sony, signed the deal with APA, who did my booking, signed the deal with my manager. So now I got 4 motherfuckers in my pocket.
Okay.
So like, yeah, 45% of my 100 that's coming in is going to these guys. And that's before I even get to pay my crew.
Yeah. So you only got 55% to pay your crew with, right? And yourself.
I had 2 or 3 Captain Curts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my boy JJ, and this is no disrespect to you. I don't even know if you know who JJ is, but you remind me a lot of like his younger, better version. And that's no
Okay.
disrespect to him because he's a legend. But
Yeah. Appreciate it.
I had 3 or 4 guys that was on the do for me, and I had to take care of those guys,
Right.
so I was having to pay them. O-Rig I was having to make sure he was getting paid. I was having to fuel everything, fund everything, so now I'm taking on John Connor. I move him from Delaware to Nashville. I bring Alex King on board as a co-writer and a hype man.
Now that's Alexander King, right?
Yeah, Alexander King.
Okay.
I bring him on the team. I got a couple other Travis Tidwell. We find him on fucking MySpace, and he's like fucking 18 years old or 17 years old, working at Pizza Hut, playing the guitar. We find him, bring him on board, and we just build this mega team. And my manager, he's like, "All right, here's what we're doing." Well, we were already like, because Alexander King is a fucking genius.
Okay.
And he had already come. He worked for Stack before I showed up, right? So me
Right.
and him, he was Stack's right-hand man before I showed up.
So you already
And
had a relationship, right? Yeah,
I never met Stack. I never met Alex. Alex left from working with Stack, and then
Before
Stack
you
met
come
me,
in.
and then I picked up and did Alex's job.
Okay.
So when me and Alex met, we were like,
on the same
we were
page. Yeah.
We were like, yo, we were the same dude for Haystak.
Yeah.
He did the 90 through whatever, and then I picked
You did 2000.
the 2000 through whatever, and I picked up the 09 08 through
whatever. Right. Yeah.
So, but when we met, we hit it off, and Alexander King's a fucking character, bro. He is a lot of fun. Great to work with, very talented fucking writer and musician and artist. So big shout out to him. But we got all these geniuses together, and we're like, Alex was big into filming, John was big into filming and scoring and all that stuff, making beats. O-Rig and John Connor, they started working together, making beats. Like we just fucking meshed, and we were filming everything episodically. Like
Okay.
we were like, okay, we're gonna film 3 to 5 minute, maybe 8 minute little shorts and we're going to make episodes and we're going to put them on YouTube every Wednesday night at 9:00 Central, like a TV show. So it was called Big Smo Country Living Behind the Scenes.
And you were doing that's cool. You were doing like podcasts, but not a podcast.
It was the reality show.
Like a reality show.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like okay, I got you.
No,
You're doing like 45-minute blocks of just your life, Just
it was like 5 and 8 minute, and we did like 18 episodes.
Okay.
Of that shit. So I took all of that. This is while we're working for Warner. We're building the first of Warner Brothers album, Country Living. We're developing it. We're co-writing it. We're producing it. We're filming all this stuff. We're going out and doing shows. Like I'm opening up for fucking, all these people. Like we're backstage with fucking Sheryl Crow.
Camera running. Yeah. That's crazy, bro.
We're coming back. We're editing. We're making episodes. We're putting in background music. We're uploading, and then boom, it's set. It's scheduled for 9:00 on Wednesday. We're working on the
whole team of people now. It's not just you in the shack anymore, and it's the whole
team. Same shack.
Yeah. Whole team. Did you get to bring you? So you just brought your whole crew with you into their crew, like it was.
Brought everybody out. Everybody's at the farm. Everybody's here. So we're shooting.
Your engineer doesn't change. Nothing changes. You still got the same engineer doing. Yeah. Okay.
We're all working. Everybody's working. Everybody could do every job. Everybody could swab the fucking deck, bro.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Everybody carried the equipment. Everybody loaded on the stage.
Yep.
Everybody did sound check. There was no.
That's the most valuable team you could get right there.
Bro,
man.
I have always carried the equipment in with my band, no matter where I was in my career.
Yeah. Like literally carried it, literally picked it up and walked in.
Never have I been the dude that sat on the bus and let the band just load in without me. So I've just always been a part of what I do. So like we're filming all this, we're putting it out. We sit down and we take all of those episodes and I make a trailer out of it, like a fucking 60-second trailer, maybe 75 seconds. I put it on a thumb drive, and me and my manager, we get a meeting in LA at VH1. We walk in with a fucking thumb drive, plug it into their shit, we're on a big ass table, pulls up on a big screen. They watch Big Smo, the fucking trailer of what I was doing, like music, life, crew, everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, bam, bam. It's like a movie trailer. It's like.
Because you had known how to edit for so long and been doing this. It was smooth. I'm
slapping them upside the face with mud and moonshine and titties and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what we do. And they're like, we want this. Like, we want this now.
Right.
We were like, okay, fuck with it. So VH1 was the first company that I shot a pilot with, a sizzle.
Yeah.
And they had us looking like fucking redneck idiots. I mean, they had us drunk, fighting, like.
They took all the worst footage and put it in.
Car. Yeah, they were like trying to make, like, me and the girl that I was with at the time. They
a bunch of dumb rednecks is what they were trying to label it as. Yeah.
Drama.
Yeah.
So we watched the edit on it, and I was like, ooh, I can't be this.
Right.
For a fucking season.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I'll die.
Yeah, it's not me. Yeah.
We blew up the engine in my K5. We wrecked my Land Rover. We fucking, like, all this stuff. We just, like, destroyed all my shit.
One sizzle, yeah.
Yeah, it was like one sizzle, bro. My relationship, like,
It was bad,
It was over. And to the point to where, like, my relationship was really over, but they wanted to film it.
Be ending, right, yeah.
They wanted to film it being over, and then they were like, hey, well, what if she comes back? And what if we film her coming back?
Oh my God.
Bro,
so that's VH1 driving that.
That's VH1.
That's them driving it. And you were like, nah, this ain't me.
I was like, well, first of all, I was like, this is exploitation at its worst. This is the devil.
Yeah.
Like, this is the devil in my front yard.
Facts.
And I was like, nah, I can't fuck with this. I'm done.
Because they were gonna make money off of your misfortune.
Oh, they didn't care what happened. They didn't care. That was what I realized. They didn't care. So from there, it was like, fucking 2 weeks later, CMT calls my manager, And they're like, hey, we heard VH1 is not doing this anymore. We'd like to take a stab at it. And he was like, all right. He comes to me. He was like, hey, you want to try this again with CMT? And I was like, I was already burnt. I was like, I don't know, bro. Like, fuck, that was hard. You know, it took like 3.5, 4 months out of my life to film that sizzle. And we just tapped it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that again. He was like, let's give it a shot. And we let them come in, and they did in 2 months, they did the exact same thing that VH1 did in 4. So I'm 6 months in on 2 projects that I've said fuck no to. I was like,
the same outcome. They were trying to make it
like,
drama
nope,
and fight.
y'all don't get it.
Jeez.
So at the same time, I'm doing like TV. I'm doing Bar Rescue. Like I was on an episode of that. So I'm doing TV, and I'm doing media experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's this is where I want to go. Like once I got a taste of this, I was like, this is where I want to be doing film. I fucking love film.
Yeah, but you didn't change who you were in order to get the bag. Like you could have took those first 2 and it not been you, and it would have portrayed a horrible image for.
Yeah, I was like, but I can't. Yeah, I want to do this, but I can't do that.
Right.
So I was like, fuck it. Let's just go back to what we're doing, and let's focus on getting this record done. So we're working on wrapping up the record. Well, we know somebody at A&E, my manager, and he was like, yo, I talked to a guy at A&E. They want to have a meeting with you. Do you want to go out to New York with me? I was like, fuck it. Let's go to New York.
Yeah.
So fly out to New York. I catch this meeting with A&E, and they're like, look, we want to do this show. What is it about it that you didn't like doing with the 2 production companies before? And I said, they simply don't know who I am or how to tell my story. They're trying to tell their story of me that's not real.
Right.
And I said, if you want to tell the real story of me and my family and have it done right, you have to let me tell that story. And I said, you have to let me write it. So they said, okay.
Oh, shit. Okay. That's what changed. Yeah, that's what changed. Yeah.
So they gave me the opportunity to be the writer of my own TV show. So
and and writing early in your childhood is what really helped you excel at that.
This.
Yeah.
I've been writing stories. I know how to write a storyboard. Like, and now I'm not dealing with fantasy. Like I'm dealing with a calendar. All I got to do is look at my calendar. I say, okay, what are we doing this week? I got to go see my mom. Boom, mom's a character.
Own QVC cooking show.
Okay.
Then we're going to upload it to YouTube, and you're going to be famous.
YouTube or Tube?
YouTube.
Mama Smoke, boom. I got to take my kids to
You were
school
just
every day.
using your real life, and then
I have to do. I'm a father, single parent. It was single
at the time, right?
But had a girl, but she wasn't their mother or my wife.
Right.
But lived with me. So boom, she's a character. Kids are a character. The entire band, everybody that I'm already working with,
they're all
characters.
Right? Yeah.
O-Rig, Alex King, my manager, he's a character. Yeah. I'm a character. So like I wrote us as characters in the real story, in the real timeline of what we were having to do.
Yeah, like you and Alexander King got to go over here to pick this up or go out to do.
I got a meeting at Warner Brothers. When I had to film a meeting at Warner Brothers, I really had a meeting at Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay. You just took the camera crew with you. Yeah.
I was like, well, I already got to go have this meeting.
So it was really reality TV without
when I had to go
being
have
scripted.
A meeting, I'll tell you an example. Whenever Leonard Skinner, when I had an opportunity to open up for Leonard Skinner.
Okay.
I didn't know that until we were filming at Warner Brothers.
Oh, that's
they
dope.
were like, are you ready? Because they were like, well, we got some big news. I'm like, just save it. It'll be a great reveal.
Yeah.
They're like, okay. So I come in and they're like, you ready for the news? And I was like, yeah, what are we here for? And they're like, how do you feel about opening up for Leonard Skinner? And I'll
talk about this show that we've lined up for you, which is opening for Leonard Skinner.
I was like,
shit.
So you got like I was like, holy shit, are you kidding me? You know, and all that shit was real. And then I go open up for Leonard Skinner. Who do you think I bring with me? The fucking film crew.
Yeah.
So now we're filming. It's like Smo is on the road heading to open up for Leonard
Oh,
Skinner.
I do. I remember that. I do remember that. Yeah. And it was like real smoky and they were recording from the side of the stage. I do remember that.
We're calling Skinner's people, which we're already working with Peter Keys, the keyboard player of Skinner. So he was our in of getting in touch with the band. And I was like, yo, is it cool if we do the TV show, have you guys on it? How would you feel about me freestyle rapping to Sweet Home Alabama? Like, is that doable? And they were like down with everything. So it's like, I got to do all this stuff, man. So
none of that was scripted either. That's just how you guys did it.
That's cool.
Yeah,
real.
That's cool as shit.
It was real. And to capture it, to write it, to capture it, to be a part of it, like, none of that would have happened, man, had I not gone over there and took a chance with the record label.
Right.
Like, people don't understand. It's not even the record label, man. I put my fucking mama on TV as a television character.
Right.
People don't know how much joy that gave her.
Oh, I bet.
Like, she called it our movie. She was like, is our movie coming on tonight? She loved that shit. Like, my dad had already passed away. And me and my mom had become closer than we ever had been because my dad was my best friend my whole life until he passed away. Then it was just me and my mom. We had to learn to have a relationship that we never had.
Yeah, without your dad around.
Without him. Yeah. And then for us to have this TV show together where not only is she my mom, but she's my co-star. And she's like, she's fucking loving it.
Yeah.
She's going to church and she's like,
she's got the nickname of Mary Jane, bro. I mean, come on,
filming, like, she goes and plays bingo with the fucking older people in the senior citizens thing. Who do you think's going?
Yeah.
Film crew.
Yeah.
We're writing it in. Mom, what do you got to do this week? You got a doctor's appointment?
Oh, so that's cool. She got to walk around with the film crew following her around. That's dope. That is cool. Yeah.
We took my mom loved gambling. We took her to the casino.
Yeah, that's
Who
dope.
went? Who went with us?
The film crew, yeah.
Episode.
Yeah.
So I learned that as an artist, as you maneuver through your day-to-day life and existence, you're living, this is the Truman Show.
Right.
You're living these episodes that people want to see. So if you can choose 30 minutes out of your day to create, to film, to cut down and create a 10-minute episode of your day, like, you can make the Truman Show movie.
Yeah, you make it a reality, right? Yeah.
This is a conversation that I've been having with some of the guys. I'll jump in the chat and on some of these live podcasts and shit. And I've been, I don't know a lot of these guys. It's just like,
I've heard you. I've seen you about the reality TV show.
So I'm like, I understand that we, as very intelligent grown men who are trying to collectively achieve one goal separately, we have what it takes to get the attention on what we're doing to where we can all achieve the goal at the same time. But we're just not putting the attention on it. Like, if we put like a reality episodic version of that on country rap right now, bro, we just missed out on the best season ever.
Diss track season.
Yeah. I mean, Trump said it the best when him and what's his name from Ukraine. He said, he said it's going to make great television.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm like, not to say that any of that should have been televised or exploited more than it was, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I know it's no.
We're living these moments that are, and I'm glad that it wasn't episode number 1. You know what I'm saying?
But it would be a rough.
And here's the thing: it's good that we got that out of our system, so we can all move forward. Right. Or people can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the genre to move forward, and for us to get back to what I've been trying to do for years, and it's put the right kind of attention on what I've been doing. I mean, I'm still trying to sell records. You know, I still have music coming out. So like, I'm still trying to do what I've been doing for over 25 years now. I still have records coming out. I'm still doing music videos. I still have people that want to book me to do shows.
It's getting more interesting now. Like now you got a whole new journey that you're starting though, you know, like I feel like this TV stuff really molded Smo to who he is now, because I think that fast-paced lifestyle that you were already living growing up, and then you transition into this TV, and I'm sure it was just as fast,
10
probably
times
faster. Yeah, I was gonna say probably faster. Your health was affected probably pretty negatively during the TV. Stress was building up. You got
divorce,
horrible
lawsuits,
horrible eating habits,
bans, buses, fucking
people over your shoulder all the time. It was wild. I'm sure it was crazy. There it was. Man, that's crazy how he got his name. You know, those are the names that stand out the most, and I think that do the best are the ones that come from the very beginning. You know what I'm saying? And it was natural. That name was given to him. He didn't really select it. Yo, that's what's up. I hope you guys enjoyed this part 2 of this Smo interview. And I'm going to work on the third part of this soon, and I hope to get it out to you as soon as possible. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And remember, be nice to one another.
I say, who the best in the game? Captain Curt reacts. Captain Curt reacts. I say, who the best in the game? Captain Curt reacts. Captain Curt reacts. I say, who the best in the game? Captain Curt reacts. Captain Curt reacts. I say, who is doing big things? Captain Curt reacts. Captain Curt reacts. I said, who else got the cold sign by the GOAT? Captain Curt put in work.